Hey, Reinvention Rebels. Can you believe we are 100 episodes strong? 100 episodes of amazing midlife and older women who are crushing ageist stereotypes and stepping into the light to reinvent themselves in inspiring, bold, and unapologetic ways. And I am so appreciative of you being here for the ride. And I want to thank you with my free gift, 100 Ways to Reinvent Yourself in Midlife. I've got ideas and inspiration to get you started on your own reinvention journey. Just click the link in the show notes and download it in an instant. Let's get started and let's reinvent and get inspired together.
Get away from everyone and just very quietly just start writing about your life. What do you care about? What matters to you? What change do you want to see? And how can I create that change? Even in small ways, we don't have to be curing cancer or solving world hunger. Instead, it's what can I do in my space, in my community, in my family, within the people that I care about? What difference can I make?
Welcome to Reinvention Rebels, stories of brave and unapologetic women 50 to 90 years young who have boldly reinvented life on their own terms to find new purpose and possibilities. I'm your host, Wendy Battles. I need to kick your fears to the curb, do it scared, and step into who you are meant to be in midlife and beyond. These amazing women, these reinvention rebels, can help light your reinvention path. Come join us and let's get inspired together. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Reinvention Rebels podcast. I'm your host, Wendy. I am so glad you're here. If you are a first-time listener, welcome aboard. This is the place to come for information and so much inspiration about reinventing in midlife and seeing what's possible. I have the extraordinary pleasure of interviewing the coolest, boldest, fiercest women who are reinventing, who are between 50 and 90, and who are figuring it out. It's a chance to celebrate, illuminate, and elevate the amazing things that women in our age group are doing when society is saying, you're kind of done. And we're like, not so fast. Not at all. In fact, I don't think so. These women share their stories to motivate and inspire us to explore what might be possible in our own lives. And it is my greatest joy to be able to share this with all of you. Speaking of that, did you check out the last episode with my friend Sharon Burton? Another Sharon. She's nothing short of amazing. She inspired us with her reinvention journey in her 50s to pivot and start anew, and the challenges that came with that, and also what she learned and how she grew. It's seriously inspiring and so many little nuggets of wisdom that I know you're going to enjoy. And I have to mention, I'm wrapping up my 100th episode celebration, which was about 3 episodes ago. But I do want to mention that if you didn't already check out my free gift to all of you for being amazing listeners, please download it. 100 Ways to Reinvent Yourself in Midlife, because we all need ideas and inspiration. I have a list of 100 different things that you could potentially do. Of course, you're not going to do all of them, but there are going to be some that resonate with you. As my good friend Erica said, she printed out the list, she highlighted the ones that spoke to her, she has it in her book, and she looks at it every day. We need inspiration, y'all, to move us forward and into action. And that's what that provides. So you'll find a link to it in the show notes. And in a minute, I'm going to introduce Sharon. But first, can we talk for a moment about menopausal brain fog? my changing almost 60 body, and living in this nonstop world with so many distractions, it can make it hard for me to focus. That's why I'm a big fan of Magic Mind. I call it a mental performance shot, and I drink it in the morning with my coffee. It's just a few ounces, yet it's really powerful. I love that Magic Mind is made of all natural, good-for-you ingredients like matcha and organic mushrooms. It's been helping me boost my focus and reduce my stress. After 3 days of drinking Magic Mind this week, my mornings have improved. I've been feeling calm, centered, and completely dialed in at work. Rebels, I invite you to give Magic Mind a spin to increase your mental clarity and feelings of calm. You can save up to 40% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time order with my code REBELS20. Go to magicmind.com/rebel. At checkout, be sure to use REBEL20 to score this deal. That's REBEL20. Details are in the show notes. And now let's talk about this week's Reinvention Rebels episode. I can't wait for you to meet my amazing guest, Sharon Kelly Hake. You are in for such a treat today. I have a very special guest who I am so excited about. Sharon Kelly Hake is the co-founder and president of Great Dames Incorporated, which provides services and opportunities for women and girls to enhance their personal and professional leadership skills while also creating a legacy of impact. I love this. A legacy of impact. Great Dames has engaged more than 14,500 women and girls in high-touch, high-impact programs during the last 15 years. That is a lot of women making a difference in so many women's lives. Sharon launched Great Dames as a way of connecting and mobilizing women, kindred spirits, and she is one of my kindred spirits, with purpose. She has enjoyed a lifetime of inspiration from remarkable men and women, including her father, who taught her the value of creating a legacy and provided the inspiration for her company. We have so much to talk about in this amazing episode today. Sharon Kelly Hake, welcome to the Reinvention Rebels guest chair.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy, for having me today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I so admire your work with Reinvention Rebels. And I believe we are, in fact, kindred spirits.
We truly are. And I am delighted as well. And I want to tell the audience a little backstory about how we met several years ago. I got connected to Great Dames from this tiny marketing company in Delaware that somehow found me on the internet and said, can we feature you during Women's History Month? And included in that was a 1-year membership to Great Dames, which of course I had never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
And I slowly started coming to some of your virtual events. And then you put a call out about this book that you're going to talk about during our interview, Great Dames, and I became part of that. So it's been this whole unfolding, and it's been amazing. And I will tell you that I've got so many questions for you about your reinvention journey, what you've learned. We're going to get right into it and dig in. And I do want to begin by asking you a little bit about your reinvention journey, because you, like myself, you made a pivot in your 50s to reimagine your life in a more meaningful way. And I'd love to know more about that and what inspired you to want to reinvent at that particular age, at that point in your life. Are you thinking, I'll have some of what she's having? Reinvention Rebels are amazing, as you can hear from our discussion. They've put themselves first, decided their dreams matter, and are taking action. They have unleashed their inner rebel and are living on purpose in midlife. Are you ready to start putting yourself first and embark on your midlife dreams, focused on what you want not others' ideas of what you should do? Come check out my new audio course, Midlife Reinvention from the Inside Out. 8 Essentials to Greenlight Your Life. I share my roadmap to get you started on your reinvention journey with the key components you need to navigate detours and get on the road to smooth reinvention sailing. Sis, it is time to give yourself the green light to shine in midlife and crush those dreams of yours with joy and purpose. Join today and let's reinvent and get inspired together. Details are in the show notes.
Well, as maybe a lot of people that are listening experience, I did gain finally a little bit of wisdom with age. That was really helpful because I was pursuing a career, raising a family. I had a very, very full, traveled a lot, very full and busy life. But a question kept coming up in my head is, what is all this about? To what end? To what end is this work that I'm so focused on? And the most important question that kept coming to my head every single day of my life was the question that my father asked us every night at the dinner table as children. I came from a large family, 7 siblings, and every single night my father would ask the same question. And he would say, "Children, what did you do today to justify your existence?" And quite honestly, I had this rather successful career, and I passed the age of 50, and I didn't have an answer to that question. I still was not able to answer the question of what am I doing to justify my existence? And it didn't feel good. I mean, once you get to a point in your life where you realize that time is running out for you to make an impact and to leave a legacy of impact, I realized if I don't do something now, it's never going to happen. So I realized I had to leave my more comfortable, secure corporate life and to move into an area where I really felt like I could make a difference and make an impact. And that was with enabling women to connect with other women so that we could support each other, to be happier, more successful, more valued, so that we could feel worthy. And that to me was a very, very important cause because I didn't always feel that way in my corporate world.
You know, what's really interesting about what you're saying, Sharon, this idea that you felt like time was ticking, that you wanted to leave this legacy. And that is a very familiar feeling to me, that I want these years to be meaningful. I want to add value in some way. And what I think is really interesting is this idea that you took a risk. It's a lot to say, I think I have the capability of doing something bigger and more impactful, but that means I have to take a big pay cut to do it. And sometimes we want to play it safe. I think that sometimes in midlife, a lot of different things come at us. I feel like even though we have come a long way in evolving, midlife is complicated with still parenting, which we're always going to do, and aging parents and changes in careers and relationships. I feel like it can be a very angsty time where we might choose to play it safe. How did you make that jump to want to go for it? That's a lot. That this whole idea of risk taking. What kind of got you over the edge? You had the idea and then you're like, I'm actually going to do it.
That's a really great question because I had been contemplating this work of launching a company, a community of women, really engaging a community of women to help us be more successful in life. But I was not able to do it for so long because of what I was going to have to give up to do it. And I was concerned about that. You know, I was supporting my family and I felt like I'm not really in a position to be able to do that. And yet it was a burning desire that the fire just got bigger and bigger and bigger with each year. And I passed my 50th birthday. That was a big one when I said, oh my God, 50, I'm here, I'm more than half my life now.
Yeah, right?
Let's face it, pretty good chance that I'm better than half my life. And the person who gave me the courage to leave was my daughter. My daughters did. And my oldest daughter called me from Korea. She was living in South Korea. And she said, Mom, I'm ready to come home and I'll help you start that company that you've been talking about. And she was, in a sense, being very helpful, but she was also calling my bluff. And I've been talking about doing this for years. And she said, I'm ready to do that with you. And that was the courage that I needed to know that I needed to set that example, frankly, for my daughters,
Yes.
set that example for myself. And this was no longer just a conversation. This was a commitment. And I said, that would be great. You come home and we'll do this. And so we started Great Dames together and as co-founders, and my other daughter has since become very involved in the company and the organization. And the rest is history.
I love it. I love how, one, you enlisted help, that you didn't go it alone, because I think sometimes we're trying to reinvent and we're thinking all these thoughts and we're trying to make it happen. And it's so much easier when we do it with other people, when we have support, when we have people that are cheering us on, what I like to call a reinvention dream team, which certainly with your daughters is so that you had these other two people who are so passionate, that shared your vision, that were right there with you, that encouraged you, that helped you take that leap, because I think we need that to be able to move forward, even when we're scared or we're unsure or we don't know what's going to happen. It's so much easier, right, when we have these people supporting us. And I love how they've been right there with you as your partners in this organization. Tell us more about Great Dames, what you do, and how you empower women and girls.
So we set out to create a community of women who believe in our individual and collective power to create change, because that's what women do. Women look out into the future. We look at future generations, and we want to create a world where our children or people that we care about and future generations of those people can live in a world where they are thriving, where they are safe, where they are healthy, where they are realizing their dreams. And we want that for our children, our grandchildren, people that we care about. And so I wanted to create a community of women to support each other so that we're in a position to be able to do that. Because my experience was that when women come together, great things happen. And so what we are in Great Dames is we facilitate those opportunities. We facilitate forging really meaningful connections, friendships even, so that people with whom we trust, that we know we can use as sounding boards, mentors, colleagues, partners in all aspects of our lives. And we do that by designing programs that facilitate those connections. We have a powerful conversation series that's very interactive, and we encourage women to connect with one another, not only during the events, but after the events. And we also have Great Dames Connect events. We have peer groups. We run peer groups. We have a Remarkable Ideas program and competition so that we support women's causes and causes where women can extend the work that we're doing. And of course, we launched a Great Dames book where you have an unbelievable story included. Again, that was the idea, was to connect these women and their stories and allow people to contact those authors so they can continue the conversation. It's all about those forging those deep connections that enable us to have, as you suggest, trusted allies, dream teams. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and believe in your power and your purpose, that are going to reinforce and support your work. And that's what Great Dames is all about.
I love the mission. I love what you do. And I will say, Sharon, I can speak from personal experience being involved with Great Dames, that it is about making these connections and forming friendships. I have been part of some of those conversations, and there's someone presents something and we get into breakout rooms. You get to know people. I met so many interesting women at our book launch last fall. And one of the things that's really interesting is that a woman came, Antoinette Blake, who is really good friends with one of the dames, Gemma. So she came to support her at the book launch. We struck up a conversation, and we've since interviewed each other on our respective podcasts. So
fabulous.
You just never know. You never know who you can meet, who can help shine a light on what you're doing, who can help you thrive. You mentioned at the beginning that this is all about helping women thrive, not just survive, because we can all do that, but thriving, that's a whole different story when women get lit up about what's possible. And that's what you're doing, really, instilling in them these possibilities that we can do and be anything. So
yes, the most important thing we can do for one another as women is we can help that other woman. We can reach out and help her understand that you believe in her and you believe in her ideas, because not enough of us get that feedback. And we are all about providing that feedback and the resources and the connections. I love your idea. So I'm going to introduce you to Antoinette Blake, for an example. And I love what you're doing, and I believe in what you're doing. So here are some resources. Here's a workshop that you might be interested in. Here's a group that's doing this work that you might want to get connected to. But it's about believing in each other and helping each other with our purpose and our passions and our reason for being. And we need that because again, with everything we've got, women wear so many hats. With everything we've got on our plates, nobody else is telling us that. It's all about, what can I get from you? But we're giving. It's about when a great dames come together, it's about what we can give to the other women. And of course, you get so much reward in return, but it's really about what we can do to give and truly give to other women and girls, and to help them thrive and become successful in terms of realization of what their dreams are and what their purpose is.
It's such an empowering message, because I know that sometimes women, we don't always support each other. We all have stories, I'm sure, of the workplace or relationships, what have you, where that wasn't always on display. And to center this work in being of service to each other, to me, is such an important pivot from many other organizations we might be involved in. And I think it speaks to how we all are evolving, that we are seeking more of that I really believe that women, especially, we want community. We want to create community. And I know many of us are involved in other communities, certainly, whether it's our sororities or it's professional groups. But this to me feels different. It feels special. It feels intensely empowering. And I think creating that deep connection that we do, even sometimes with strangers, it's amazing how you can get into relationship with people just by going into a breakout room. And in 10 minutes, right, having a conversation that could be eye-opening or life-changing or help us think differently about something. Or maybe it's just the coaching you needed in that moment that you didn't even know you needed. Right? So Exactly. We are mentors to each other. And I have learned so much, even from some of the youngest people in our community. And I have so much to learn from all the other women. And I do think it's important, to your point, Wendy, that we actually create the expectation and we design our programming that women come into the community, into our programs, into our events as great dames. And that is someone who I'm here to serve and I'm here to support. And that is the expectation we create. And we also, at the conclusion of every program, we have a call to action, a Great Dames call to action, because we really do believe it's not just about talk. It is about action. And the action is always around reaching out to another woman in your life that night, that day. Don't wait, and ask her, how can I support you? And tell her, I believe in you. I want to hear what you are working on, and support those ideas and be that sounding board. So it's an expectation that we create, and the rewards from reaching out are so extraordinary that the impact is like the ripple effect. It just goes on and on. We, as women, we pay it forward when we've had that experience, that positive experience. And so it is about paying it forward and being there for other women and being their sounding board and being the person who is going to tell them they are worthy. They are worthy of doing the work that they're doing. You know, I couldn't agree with you more. I am just so jazzed about the possibility of this. And I know that a lot of people who are listening right now are in midlife and they're thinking, well, I want to reinvent myself. And I'm hearing this conversation and I'm seeing that there are ways that I can build community. Even if I live, I don't know, in Timbuktu, really far away.
Right.
Virtually, of course, we can all join Great Dames or another organization maybe in your area. We can all feel more connected. My question for you is about someone who's just getting their feet wet in this idea of reinventing themselves. Maybe they have, I don't know, some tiny kernel of an idea, or maybe they don't have any idea at all. They just know that they want something to be different, that they want more, that feeling that we both have had. Like, there's got to be more to my life than just doing this thing. There's got to be a way I can make a difference in the world. What's one suggestion you have for someone who's listening to get started, to take that first step in exploring the idea of reinvention?
That is a fabulous question because, it starts usually with some angst or some feeling of dissatisfaction, right?
Yes.
But I know that it needs to be supported then, because then what do you do with that angst? And so one of the things we strongly recommend is that we take advantage of the tools that are out there. And we have something called the Great Dames Discovery Tool. And I actually gave a TED Talk about this because it's really what helped me figure out what I wanted to do with Great Danes, because I was in this corporate environment, completely different work. And I started to write down what my strengths were, what I loved to do, what change I wanted to see in the world. And I put it all together into a personal purpose statement. And so we have a tool that's available right on our website, and it's right under the Getting Started tab. So that was great. That was a great provocation, Wendy, because the idea is, how do I even get started? It's called Getting Started. And there's a tool called the Great Dames Discovery Tool. And it's one page. And I highly recommend that your readers download that. And I can make it available to you if you want to send it out, and just sit in a quiet place, and better to do it even with a pen. Just start writing. And what will emerge is the idea that's deep inside. I am the person that can do that. The neat thing about this personal purpose statement is you're the only one that's going to end up with that statement. You are the only one that's uniquely able to activate that. This is your personal purpose statement, and no one else in the world can do it better than you, because this is yours. And this is exactly what I did. And I was looking at it one day and I said, oh my God, I got to do this because I'm not doing this. I'm doing this marketing thing and this strategy thing.
Yeah.
And it just hit me over the head. And that's when I started. And then an outgrowth from that, of course, is talk to people who are in that space, get inspiration from them, learn from them, share your purpose statement with people that you trust, get ideas, put that dream team together that you talk about, Wendy. We talk about as your personal board of directors,
Right.
with your dream team. I love that. And just engage people. And guess what? People love to help you. No one's going to say, well, I'm not interested. They want to help you. The people in your life want to help you because they can see that you need to move to a different place, and they want you to be successful and happier and also creating impact. So I strongly encourage that you find a way to do that. And this discovery tool has been used by literally hundreds and hundreds of women. It's working, and it's going to at least give you visibility. It's going to get you started. And then from there, you can put a plan together. But I strongly encourage that you reach out and talk to lots of people about it. And don't be shy. Share it with people you trust, and you'll get wonderful feedback. And they'll say, wait, I have just the person you should talk to. Or have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? We all want to support you in your endeavor. Let us. And every piece is, you're not going to do everything that everybody says, but you're going to see patterns and trends, and things are going to hit you and go, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to do. Don't try to do this alone. It's not as much fun. It's so much fun when you engage other people in the process.
So true.
And
true. So much fun.
And you really will learn a lot about yourself, and you'll learn a lot about some of the people in your life that you're talking to. It's an opportunity to forge a board of, an informal board of directors or even formal board of directors in this process.
I love it. I love this idea. And I'll tell you, we will link to this in the show notes so people can easily get it right from the website. But one of the things you said is that when you start writing, it opens things up. And
it does.
I completely agree. I feel like writing is like a window into our soul, or maybe it's a door. It's a door into our soul and uncovering what our true purpose is. And I always feel like, and it's certainly in my own life, I've discovered that by being quiet, by being in nature, by writing, by being much more still. When we're all multitasking, which we often do, especially women, it's hard to, I think, get quiet enough to sometimes uncover those things, but they're within us. They're within all of us.
Yes. And I couldn't agree with you more. I agree that go to a quiet place and even just start journaling, stream of consciousness. Get away from everyone and just very quietly just start writing about your life. What do you care about? What matters to you? What change do you want to see? And how can I create that change? Even in small ways, we don't have to be curing cancer or solving world hunger. Instead, it's what can I do in my space, in my community, in my family, within the people that I care about? What difference can I make? And don't start thinking about a company yet or something I'm going to launch. Think about my personal impact, about what I care about. And that's what this tool gets to. And so a lot of people have done this and they've said, yes, I've added so much more meaning to my life because I've joined a board, or I've I volunteered, or I've done this even in my workplace. I've forged different kinds of relationships with people because women, our currency is relationships.
Oh, it is.
It's not how much money we make. It's the quality of our relationships. So a lot of this work is really around that. You don't have to launch a major multi-million-dollar company. Yes. I certainly didn't,
Right.
I launched a company, but it's a small company. But we've been able to reach almost 15,000 women.
I love it. And you are so right that, you know what? We can all do it in our own unique way, big or small, like with Reinvention Rebels, because it really was just this kernel of an idea. One day it came to me when I was being really quiet. I just heard when I was meditating Reinvention Rebels, as you know, from this story. And who knew that, now I'm at 100 episodes. And
yes. Exactly. Congratulations on that. I mean, that's huge.
Right. So
and when you first started, you didn't say, well, I'm going to do 100 podcasts because that would be scary.
Right.
But you built to it. You built the momentum.
Exactly.
And you got to a 100 and now you're probably going to do 1,000,
Right. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Why not? What's stopping you?
There's no limits.
Same thing. I mean, if you had said to me, oh, you're going to engage 15,000 women, I would have said, no, my God, no,
Right.
The first few things we did were 20 women in a room in a circle.
Yeah.
And they were called Great Dame Circle meetings. They were wonderful. Things grew from there. And the idea, but then they grew from there because what I was getting was feedback of, that was really helpful. That session you had, because then I reconnected with the person that was sitting next to me, or I called someone that I was struggling with in terms of a relationship, and my relationship is better. We were getting feedback that having these deeper connections and these deeper conversations enabled us to do more meaningful work and forge more meaningful connections and relationships in our lives. And that's really what it's about for women. We care about the quality of those relationships and our connections. That's our currency. And so we wanted women to be able to build meaningful currency in their lives.
I love it. And you are doing it in such extraordinary ways that just tickles me. I love seeing you in action. I love participating and, all these women coming together. This is a great segue to talk about this idea. You talked about this tool that we can use to help us just begin to think about what might my purpose be and what might be possible. And I feel like it's such a parallel to this beautiful book that has come out called Great Dames. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that and how you think that might be a companion to people seeing new possibilities.
That's a great way of describing why we did the book, Wendy, because we were, having these extraordinary conversations. And over 15 years, we had hundreds of them. Hundreds of women shared their stories and shared their wisdom. And we were inspired by all that and motivated to do more and do better. I mean, women inspire us to be better people. This is what was happening. And I was getting so much feedback from these stories. And then, of course, during COVID, we went global. So we were talking to women around the world and we were recording all this. And I said, wow, we're sort of learning so much from these extraordinary women. And by the way, these were everyday women. We were women from cross-generational. We weren't seeking out the big CEOs for major companies. So these are CEOs of our lives. That's who we were.
Love that.
And I said to my board, we need to share this. This is too important. The wisdom and the key learnings and the deep vulnerability that these women were sharing that allowed me now to be vulnerable and to share more. I really wanted to put that in a book because more and more people would benefit from that. I mean, obviously the community was benefiting that called in on the call or were in the room, but that was in some cases only 50 people, 100, 150, 250, but this was not thousands. So now the book has been purchased by thousands of people. We've assembled this book. We put it out to the Great Dames community. We said, we love your stories. Who would like to share your stories? And we did get an extraordinary response, including from you, Wendy. We absolutely love your story because it's like the ultimate Great Dame story, Reinvention Rebels. And we have 52 true stories, and they're short because there was a page limit, about 4 or 5 pages. stories about women sharing their power. And the answer to the question of what did I learn from a moment in time when I shared my power, when I learned that I had power, a moment in time when I discovered my power. And that's what people wrote about. And so a lot of times it was something sort of challenging or difficult or even traumatic, or just I had all this angst. What led to that? And then how did I overcome it? So they were all reinvention stories in a lot of ways, Wendy. So that's why your story is so perfect for our book.
It's funny you should say that. You're right. They are really reinvention stories and stories of women awakening in their own life.
Yes, women awakening. And so anyone who reads this book will come away, I hope, with a sense of hope. And I can do this. And inspiration, of course. Wait a minute. If all these women have been able to do this, I should be able to do this. And so that's what we hope from the book. And the other thing that's so important to your point, in the back of the book is contact information for every author. And that was such an important part of the book. And the authors all agreed to that. And so in addition to reading their beautiful stories and going, oh my gosh, Wendy Battles just is doing such great work, I go to the back of the book and I can contact Wendy Battles because I want to continue the conversation. It's not just about reading her story. It's about connecting with Wendy and saying, I'd like to learn more about your work. And frankly, I'd like some mentoring from you, or I'd like to just use you as a sounding board, or I've got this idea. And is it crazy? And I just want somebody to listen and give me some feedback. That's the idea. We never stop at the inspiration. We always enable. It's all about enabling women to connect with one another on their terms and grow and learn and be inspired from that connection.
We are linking to this book so you can learn more about it. It's just the coolest thing, as you mentioned, to inspire all of us about the possibilities, because I know that my reinvention or your reinvention isn't going to be exactly like someone else's, but we can use this as fuel to figure out our unique journey in a way that works for us. And that's what I love most about this book. The stories are so varied. They're very inspiring. They are often life-changing, what women did or the situations they were in and they were able to overcome, as women tend to do. We, at the end of the day, are strong and resilient and get it done, even in the midst of often really difficult circumstances. And I was so inspired by reading many of these stories of how women overcame things. And that is a great segue, Sharon Kelly Hake, to ask you about the theme of season 6 of the Reinvention Rebels podcast is Own Your Awesome. Own your awesome. I believe we are so much stronger, smarter, and more accomplished than we often give ourselves credit for. We tend to play small, like, who, me? Did I do that?
Yes.
Really, we're amazing. And I feel like many of us do own our awesome. What does that mean to you, owning your awesome, as it relates to reinvention?
I love that question. And there's a couple things that immediately come to mind, because it's Great Dames, women sharing their power. So not only do we inspire, we share. It's all about sharing. And there's no better way to be awesome, right, than to take your power and share it. And then you know what happens? Not only does that person that you've shared it with become more powerful, you become more powerful because you go, wait a minute. I'm a pretty powerful dame because I just shared some of it. I got so much power that I can share. Your power is infinite. And understanding that is so important. It's about owning your awesome. Understanding that when you give something away, guess what? It grows. It grows. It gets bigger. And it's like infinity in terms of that. So I think that's really, really important for women to understand. The other thing that I want women to really understand is they are truly remarkable. And we have a whole program called Remarkable Ideas, Women with Remarkable Ideas. And we have an annual pitch competition, which is going on right now. We're getting applications for this amazing competition. We support women with seed money, great seed grants that have these remarkable ideas. And we engage them with business mentors and other kinds of really cool business resources. The important thing is we are helping women acknowledge that they are, in fact, remarkable. We first launched this 15 years ago, the women were like, well, we're not remarkable. I'm not a fine. I'm not. And we were, yes, you are. You're doing this extraordinary work. You're impacting kids in schools. You're impacting people in your community. You're impacting your family, your neighborhood. You are remarkable. And it's taken, years and years of work for all of us to convince ourselves that, in fact, we are remarkable. We are awesome. And that is what I love about your work, is this owning your awesome, because each one of us is awesome in our own unique way. We have gifts that nobody else has, and the world needs them. We always say there's a great dame in every woman, and the world needs every great dame. The world needs our great dameness, because look at what's going on. And if every woman could unleash her great dameness, this world would be a completely different place.
It really would. It really would. And you're right. It's within all of us. I like how you said that we are all remarkable, even if we're awakening to that idea, because I know we're in different places. Some of us might be saying, I am totally owning my awesome. I am amazing. Other people might be at the other end of that spectrum saying, I want to own my awesome. I'm not sure how. Right?
Exactly.
It's like a continuum, but I love this idea that it's within all of us. We can bring it out. That's what Great Dames does. You talked about that so eloquently, and I am just so excited. I have loved this conversation so much. And as we're wrapping up, I have to ask you, Sharon, because people are going to want to know, where can they learn more about you and Great Dames? How can people become a part of this organization or look at the book, buy the book, etc.? Tell us a little bit about how people can contact you.
Thank you very much. We welcome any and all individual who wants to support women and girls. We actually have a lot of men in our community. We welcome anybody who wants to support women and girls. GreatDames.com, very simple. GreatDames.com is a great way to get in touch because we have a contact form. I'm on LinkedIn, Sharon Kelly Hake. And we actually have a site, Great Dames Book. Just type in Great Dames Book. Of course, we're available on Amazon. We would welcome your reading it and sharing it. Sharing the book, a lot of people are giving it now for graduation gifts, because they've read the book or they're in the book and they say, you know what, this is going to help this young person who's starting out really in another phase of their life, who may face some level of insecurity there that they hadn't faced because they're on their own in a lot of ways and they're challenged with new things. And this book can help them with some inspiration. Absolutely. We would love to have you be part of what we're doing. We have many events coming up because it's our 15th year, which we're thrilled about. So we have our competition events. They're all on our website. We have our global Great Dames event, which is October 15th, because we wanted to do it on the 15th. But our competition is going on right now. So if any of your listeners are doing interesting work that support and empower women and girls, they are absolutely eligible to apply to the Great Dames Remarkable Ideas competition and get seed money and other services to support their work, because we believe in you and we know you are worthy of this work.
Amazing. It is so powerful, the mission of Great Dames and how it's making a difference, both for young women, middle-aged women, older women, you name it, just women, period. This has been so wonderful. I am so grateful that you joined me, Sharon, graced me with your presence. We will list all of the things you just mentioned in the show notes so people can easily connect with this amazing organization. Thank you so much, Sharon Kelly Hake.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for doing the work that you do, because nobody would know about any of this and all of these extraordinary women that you're featuring. I'm so proud of you for really focusing on women from between 50 and 100. Nobody else is doing that. and you know what? Think of all those gifts that now you're unleashing from all those amazing women, because you're giving us permission, you're encouraging us, and you believe in us. And that's the most important thing you can do.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. And I'm going to see you at our next event.
Yes, great. I will be there.
Thanks, Sharon.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, there were so many nuggets in this episode. Was it just me, or do you agree that Sharon and the organization that she started based on this reinvention dream she had, Great Dames, is doing amazing things in the world to help change the lives of women and girls for the better? So if you feel inspired, I encourage you to check out the resources that Sharon mentioned. They're all detailed in the show notes. Come to one of the events that are coming up. The 15th anniversary is around the corner, as she mentioned. So many possibilities. What it reminds me of is that these women who are part of Great Dames and are changing their lives, they're just like you and me. They're doing it scared. They don't have all the answers. I didn't have all the answers when I started the podcast or know what I was doing, but I figured it out. And that's what Great Dames have done. They've figured it out, and you can too. If you are loving on this idea of doing it scared, of being able to move forward, even when we don't have all the answers, I encourage you to download my Do It Scared, Do It Anyway free guide, because I help you get started in thinking about, what does it mean to reinvent when I'm unsure? When I don't know how things are going to work out? When I feel nervous because, what if it doesn't work out the way I expect? Well, this guide will help you think about some simple things you can do to begin to take some action. Do It Scared, Do It Anyway. Free guide. Details are in the show notes. And don't forget to check out Magic Mind. You can find the link in the show notes. Until next time, Rebels, I'm Wendy, and I want to remind you to keep shining your light. The world needs you and all that you have to offer. Are you tired of waiting for someday? Feel like you're too old or it's too late to reinvent yourself? Unsure of how you'd even get started on the path to midlife reinvention? I'm here to help as your guide on the side and host of the top 2% globally rated Reinvention Rebels podcast. I've been around the reinvention block a lot. Here's a simple way you can get started. Sign up for my free audio, 5 questions to spark your curiosity and inspire your reinvention rebel journey. It all starts with getting curious about what's possible. And I've got 5 questions to help tease out some very cool ideas. Let's get started. Details are in the show notes.